Hello, I'm going to be giving my presentation on professional teaching standards. For professional teaching standards, we're just going to go ahead and get right on into it. Today I'm going to be comparing in-task standards and how they connect to SPA standards. So there's 10 in-task standards, so like I said, we're just going to go ahead and dive right on in with the first one, which is learner development. In summary, learner development is summarized by having respect for learners' different strengths and opportunities in order to further each one's development, then using their strengths to further their growth and misconceptions for opportunities to learn, taking responsibility as a teacher for each person's development, and valuing the input of outside sources like families and colleagues. How that would connect to one of the SBA standards that I chose, which was centered around middle level teachers, is teachers must assess the diverse development levels of each student and use this information effectively in the decisions they make. And based on these decisions, teachers revise their practice to increase their effectiveness, and middle level teachers must accurately interpret the concepts about young adolescent development. Moving on into the second in-task standard, which would be learning differences. Teachers must have faith that each student can reach a higher level of learning and their full potential. They must have an understanding that each learner comes from unique backgrounds that affect how they learn. And leaders must show value in each student in order for them to value one another, while integrating diverse languages and dialects in their teaching to engage all students. How that would connect to the SPA standard that I chose was teachers must have dynamic environments that incorporates diversity within student populations. Middle level teachings value family diversity and backgrounds to capitalize on those assets in their teaching. And finally, candidates reflect on their decisions to enhance their effectiveness in all students' learning. The third in-task standard is learning environments. Basically, in summary, that is commitments to working with colleagues, families, and communities to establish positive learning environments, valuing the role of learners and how they can promote each other's learning, fostering respectful communication among all areas of a learning community, and being a thoughtful and responsive listener. That would connect to the SPA standard that I chose by middle level teachers create and maintain safe and supportive learning environments that promote the development of all students, and teachers collaborate with colleagues, family members, and others to increase motivation of learning among all students. You can kind of see the connection, especially in that last point there. Moving on to the fourth one is content knowledge. Basically, the standard summarizes that realization that content knowledge is complex and always evolving, recognition in the potential personal bias of discipline and need to appropriately address them, commitment towards each student's mastery of content and skills. That would connect to the SPA standard by demonstrating depth of subject matter in the subjects they teach, showing their understanding of the complexities of the subject area, and seek knowledge needed to improve their teaching. And finally, select, design, evaluate, and modify curriculum to capitalize on diverse learning needs of all students. Application of content. The standard summarizes that constant exploration as using knowledge to address local and global issues, valuing knowledge outside their own content and how that enhances student learning. And finally, teachers show value in flexible learning environments that encourage exploration, discovery, and expression across content areas. That connects to the SBA standard that I chose by teachers demonstrate a commitment to middle level curriculum that is relevant, challenging, and exploratory, and facilitates student learning through a wide range of responsive materials such as contemporary media. And finally, advocate for middle level education in a variety of settings. Assessment. The standard summarizes that assessment is engaging learners actively in assessment processes, taking responsibility for aligning assessments with learning goals, provide timely and effective feedback, and finally, using multiple types of assessment processes to support, verify, and document learning. This connects to the SPA standard that I chose through teachers demonstrate their knowledge of specific teaching and assessment strategies and use a wide variety of them in their teaching. Collaboration with students and colleagues to create a wide variety of formative and summative assessments. Analyze data to evaluate their practice and inform their instruction. Planning for instruction. The standard for INTASK summarizes that respect for learners' diverse strengths and needs to plan effective instruction, takes into consideration the input of learners, colleagues, families, and the larger community, use short and long-term planning as a means of assuring learning, and being open to adjustments and revision. This connects to the SBA through using knowledge to deconstruct classrooms and analyze how this information impacts student learning and modify teaching to reflect the new understanding. Collaborate with colleagues, family members, and others to increase motivation to learn among all young adolescents. Establish productive learning environments for all students. Instructional strategies. The INTASK standard summarizes that commitment to deepening awareness and understanding the strengths and needs of diverse learners when planning instruction, valuing the variety of ways people communicate and encouragement of using multiple forms of communication, and finally, explore how the use of technologies can support student learning. This connects to SPA through employ processes of self-analysis and collaboration with students and colleagues to determine the impact of their instruction, establish learning environments that includes the skilled use of technology, and finally, middle-level teachers facilitate student learning through responsive materials such as technological resources. Professional learning and ethical practice. Teachers are committed to deepening understanding of their own personal frames of reference and their impact on expectations for and relationships with learners and their families, and understands the expectations of the profession include code of ethics, professional standards of practice, and relevant law and policy. This connects to the SPA standard that I chose through teachers take responsibility for modeling appropriate ethical behaviors and high levels of professional competence. And middle-level instructors self-assess their professional development needs and take the initiative to seek out and participate in opportunities that address them. The final standard is leadership and collaboration. The INTASK standard summarizes that teachers respect families' beliefs, norms, and expectations to seek to work collaboratively with learners and families in setting and meeting challenge goals. The teacher takes responsibility for contributing to and advancing the profession. And finally, the teachers embrace the challenge of continuous improvement and change. This connects to the SPA standard through teachers initiate opportunities to collaborate with other professionals in ways that support collaborative processes. And they initiate collaboration with parents and community members to improve education and well-being of all young adolescents. And finally, instructors self-assess their professional development needs and take initiatives to seek out and participate in opportunities that address them. A couple other considerations are that INTASK standards create a learning community where the voices of all teachers and personnel are equally valued and appreciated. This teaching model can be used to assist students' competence through well-sequenced procedures that the INTASK standards support. So, in conclusion, the INTASK standards are helping with the process of bettering not only teachers, but the learning environment in general. And it's very important to understand each one of these INTASK standards so that way you can be the most effective teacher you can possibly be. Thank you.